All right, we're live for another episode, and on today's episode, I interview a yoga student and instructor who's been fortunate to travel around the world pursuing his passion for yoga. This spring, after 10 years of being involved in all aspects of running a yoga studio, from teaching to management, he and his best friend co founded Rogue Vinyasa in Winnipeg, Manitoba, where he continues to share his love for this amazing practice. Before yoga, he also completed a degree in massage therapy, as well as over 20 years working in customer service. He's also a DJ known as Coppens. Welcome to the Winner Circle, Matt Coppens.
Thanks, man.
Great having you on here. I just started practicing at you and Jess's new yoga studio, Rogue Vinyasa, which you guys
Yeah.
just opened on April 30th, I believe you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
April
Yeah.
30th, 2025.
Yeah.
And when I walked in, I was just like, wow, this is such a warm, beautiful environment. Not just the lobby. And then I walked into kind of the change room area, which is unique to any other yoga studio I've been to in the city, where it's just like it's male and female. It's like the locker room shared.
hmm
There's places where you could change, but just inclusive, and it encourages community. And then I walked into the yoga studio, which is so beautiful, like all this natural sunlight, huge windows, all these plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have be practicing there this last month with you and Jess and
Yeah.
your teachers, and I'm excited to have you on. Welcome to the Winner Circle, just to share your story on how you got to founding this beautiful studio in Winnipeg.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's cool.
So these conversations, um, yeah, they're really meant to uplift, inspire, and empower people tuning in just to move forward with greater faith and belief in themselves on their personal hero's journey. And so we try to keep it light and positive. And so the first question sets us up as such. And that's, what do you love, Matt, about your personal world right now? Not about all the good news and stuff on the exterior world, but what do you love about your personal life, your personal world?
um, I mean, like you kind of touched on it. Like starting a studio was a huge endeavor and huge thing. Um, Simple answer to that is like just being where I am right now. Um, Throughout the process of like construction and building and changing jobs and quitting and like going on this like dealing with a bank and dealing with lawyers, like every single part of the last like maybe 2 years, we had like every person came out of the woodwork to like offer their support, but then also be like, you're gonna look back at this one day and like you're not gonna like see all the trouble that you went through in the
Mm-hmm.
same way. You're gonna like be able to look back and just be like really landed and settled where you were. And there's definitely times where it was like, that's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna be happy again. I'm never not gonna be stressed again. But like I'm happy to report it's been like 7 months since the studio opened, and like it really it's just like transformed everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every morning I wake up and I'm just like, I'm glad I went through all that, and I'm glad that I'm here right where I am. So
Yeah, and you're living your dream.
yeah,
Um,
which is like not something everyone gets to do, and it's like it's not lost on me how awesome that is. So
Yeah, and it took a lot of courage and faith to bring you to this moment and taking risks. And I'm excited to get into that as this conversation progresses. But first, let's just kind of explore your journey to yoga. Like, how did yoga come into your life?
um, yeah, I've joked in the past that like yoga. I was brought to yoga by a friend. I had a friend who worked at the studio that I started going to, and she had a unique perspective because she worked there. She knew everyone. She kind of had like a bunch of friends,
Yeah.
and I was in a weird point in my life. I had just gotten out of like a really serious relationship. I had like gotten into running and just like kind of thrown myself at physical activity to
Mm-hmm.
like distract and do all this stuff. And I had also kind of like removed myself from a bunch of friend groups. And this friend, she was like, you know what, you should come to yoga. It's a great place. You can meet people and get to know friends. And so I showed up, and it was like a 90-minute hot yoga class. And the first class I ever went to, I like prepared for it and like drank extra water because I was like reading online beforehand, like what do I need to do to prepare?
Yeah.
And it turned out to be like the absolute worst place ever to meet people
Uh
because
huh.
you sweat so freaking much in hot yoga that like I immediately just showered and then left.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, not a good place to meet people, but like I kind of loved it. Like
Yeah.
literally right from the very first time I stepped foot in the studio, I liked
Yeah.
every piece about it.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I went back and I went back and I just like
Didn't
kept going.
stop. Yeah.
And yeah. But yeah, like my journey to yoga started just from like a friend being like, you should come try this. This is what you might find there. And I found something completely different when I showed up,
Mm.
which was really cool.
Do you feel that like you've been around the yoga community and yoga studios for a long time now? Do you find that to be a similar story to the people coming to yoga? Like, what do you feel is like the commonality amongst people coming into a yoga studio for the first time, or is it always different?
I think it's always different. I think there's this conception of what you'll get with yoga and
Yeah.
like because of like, media advertising, however it's portrayed. Um, and my favorite thing is when people come out of their first practice and are like, that's not at all what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And like no, I haven't met anyone in like all my time that's like that says it in a bad way. It's like, oh, I was expecting something else and I got this. It's like everyone comes out and they're like, whoa,
Yeah,
like
I would
I
agree.
got I
This
got
plus
something
more.
totally different. Yeah. I mean, I was chatting with some friends like fairly recently, and we were talking specifically about like men in yoga.
Yeah.
And for me, that's been one of the biggest things is I think men have a very skewed perception of what yoga is or could be,
Yeah, definitely.
because it's not traditionally sold to us. Like
Yeah.
we aren't the lion's share of like Lululemon's marketing campaign,
Yeah.
but the potential for like that surprise spark, I think, is like super potent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
that's what brings me back to this practice is like I think I'm learning something and I leave and I've learned something completely different.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like the at the absolute least, it's like 1 hour, sometimes 90 minutes of just being present. And so few people do that and gift them that time. And it truly is a gift just to gift yourself
Yeah,
presence, just being present
yeah,
in the moment, um,
yeah,
bringing awareness to the breath. Like how few people do that prior to
yeah,
being exposed to yoga.
yeah. And it,
It's
and it
life
does
transforming.
and it does kind of like a sneaky job of it too. Like you've practiced yoga for a long time. Like
Yeah.
we've met in the yoga studio before, and like for someone to say like that you're present while you practice and you deepen your breath while you practice, like those are kind of like buzzwords in a way that like I think gets thrown with yoga,
Uh
but
huh.
you have to. Like you're in that space and someone's telling you to do something or telling you to hold a certain way or like adjusting you in some way, and
Yeah.
like whether you set out with the goal of like being present or not, like you almost are forced into it with yoga. Like that's one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that's unique about it, in my opinion, from like a physicality standpoint,
Yeah.
is like you can't really get away with it. You're like in a room trying not to like talk and trying to kind of follow along, and
Yeah.
you're almost like you need to follow this sense of being right there in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. What's one thing that you could guarantee a student who comes to Rogue Vinyasa?
I could guarantee.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know. I mean, I this is gonna sound like a huge promise, and I don't want to
Okay.
just
Yeah.
blanket over
Yeah.
deliver, but like I promise, like a practice of yoga will change your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be it like you come every day and you're like completely hooked and smitten by it, or like you come just every now and then and you like notice the benefit of it,
Yeah.
or like you even just like dabble for a little bit of time. Like I really do think that yoga as a practice will change everyone's life, and I think it's one of those things that at the very least everyone should try
Yeah. I
and
fully,
be.
wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
What has got in the way of your yoga practice, and what have you seen get in the way of others?
One of the things that really got in the way of mine, was like practicing hot yoga a lot.
Okay.
I'm a unique case. I was like working full time at a hot yoga studio, teaching like 12 to 15 classes a week, and then also trying to practice.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't, I didn't realize like what an impact that was having on my body
Yeah.
and like preventing me from like actually being able to like go and practice.
Yeah.
Because what started happening is like I'd practice and then I would get like sinus infections or start to feel kind of ill. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
notice that when I was just teaching. So I kind of like
Mm-hmm.
made this choice of like I either teach or I practice.
Yeah.
And like teaching was how I made my money. So I kind
Yeah.
of had to. But it was one of those things that like snuck up. Like I wouldn't until this year I wouldn't have like admitted or said that that was something that got in the way.
Okay.
But yeah, that was one of the main things. The other is just like there's been times I've been practicing now for 15 years.
Yeah.
There's been times where I've kind of felt like I was in between teachers. You know how sometimes you have people that you just like really like mesh well with.
Yeah.
You like the way they cue or the way they sequence their sequences.
Yeah.
Um, there's like people come and go in the yoga scene.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've gone through like a handful of times where a teacher has moved away or started another business or like I've changed or moved around, and those would be the main things. Primarily
Mm-hmm.
just like having that connection of someone you trust and want to practice with.
Yeah. Speaking of which, who have been some teachers, mentors, whether you've met them in person or whether you just read about them in books, that have really inspired you on your path as a yoga teacher and even beyond that, just as a human being? And who
Um,
were they? And
yeah.
what were like the primary takeaways you learned from them that you've incorporated into who you are?
Um, okay. I like how you brought in like someone you read into the books or something else.
Yeah.
Um, there is a yoga teacher that like he wouldn't call me a student of his, but I would say he's a teacher of mine.
Yeah.
He's based out of Toronto. His name is David Robson. Shout
Okay.
out, David. You sat on me once in my class. He's like a very traditional Ashtanga teacher,
Hmm.
which for anyone who like doesn't know, the simplest way about it, Ashtanga is kind of um, like has this long lineage of like powerful practice, but also like a deep root to like a spiritual side of yoga.
Hmm.
Um, and it's one of the like few remaining, I'd say, styles of yoga that has been largely untouched by like evolving patterns. Like it's still like Ashtanga is still very traditional in a
Yeah.
lot of ways that it's taught.
Yeah.
And he, as a teacher, the way that I kind of got introduced to him, and the reason that I would say that I really attached to him, is he teaches incredibly traditionally, um, but instead of leaving the answer of like this is why we do this thing, like the answer of why we do it is because that's how it was done before.
Hmm.
But if you want to know more, here's the advantages of it.
Okay.
Here's the benefit of it. Like pyramid pose, like what angle do you place your feet? It's like there's the new school answer that's like every human and every body is different,
Yeah.
and everyone is going to have different demands and needs of like how you pivot your hips and how you move your limbs.
Yeah.
But this like old spiritual way that comes from like hundreds of years ago is like no, the front foot goes this way, the back foot goes this way.
Yeah.
He kind of just takes it a next step that's like let's practice this way, but here's the benefit that we're trying to get, and here's why it doesn't work for some people, but here's why it's still maybe a good idea to try and be
Hmm.
aware of it and
Hmm.
practice with it.
Hmm.
And I always just appreciated that combination of things. He also has like a wicked anatomical mind, which I've always appreciated. I really like kind of the anatomy of yoga and like not just where we move, but
Hmm.
why we would move to get there and
Hmm.
what we kind of feel to do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, the other two who are like real people I know and they know who I am.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet the twins in Windsor, Nena and Misha?
No.
They would have. So they started. They were teachers in Winnipeg when I first started.
No, I never even heard of them.
And I met Nena, and she was like my very first teacher that I would probably say is like my first real yoga teacher.
Yeah.
Was Nena, and Misha is her twin sister. They own two studios in Windsor, Ontario.
Okay.
I've been lucky enough to go there. We still talk regularly on social media. The two
Amazing.
of them, um, they were the ones that I think really instilled in me that yoga can be serious, but can also be fun.
Yeah.
And you can share. like very meaningful, personal, heartfelt stories in a way that people connect to without like distilling the potency and the like spiritual practice of yoga as
Mm-hmm,
well.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Which I think like that's one of the things that I still try to do in my classes today is
Yeah.
like allow people to connect to it through not always like Sanskrit words and like philosophical talks, but like a conversation about my cat or like a
Yeah.
happening of the day
Yeah,
or
I love
like
how you do that with your
yeah.
classes. You kind of incorporate stories from your personal life and you apply it to kind of the yoga practice or mindfulness or just presence.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something unique that you do. And yeah, keep on doing that. I enjoy it.
Thanks,
I'm sure
man.
other people do too.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. That that's one of the things I get a lot of feedback on. So yeah, people keep asking me if I'm ever gonna write a book, and I'm like, nah, but who knows? Maybe
Yeah,
one
who
day.
knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the twins, and then you said is there anyone else that come to mind?
um. I mean, there's lots. I think
Of course.
like the potential of like people making an impact on you,
Yeah.
it is definitely there. Did you ever know Jonathan from Yoga Public
Not
there?
not well, but I know he's like left a big legacy
Yeah.
in Winnipeg, especially for Ashtanga students. I just never really practiced Ashtanga.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really know him well. But yeah, let's talk about Jonathan. What did you learn from him?
Yeah, I mean, I have a funny Jonathan story that like people who know him, I think like anytime I've shared it with someone who's like known him really well, they kind of laugh about it.
Yeah.
Um, it- I only knew Jonathan for about a month. Like
Hmm.
him and I's relationship is like very, very small.
Yeah.
And it was I had my partner and I at the time, we had booked our first trip to India
Yeah.
and we were going traveling for 4 months. We had decided that while we were down there, we were going to take a yoga teacher training. So
Yeah.
this was my first teacher training I'd ever done,
Yeah.
not with the intent of actually becoming a teacher, but like deepening my knowledge. And to be totally transparent, it was also just like really cheap for like a full month. Like it was like $900 for training, lodging, and meals
Whoa.
for a whole month. We were
Yeah.
like,
What a bargain.
we can't even travel in India for this price. So like now we get to do a training and be there.
Cool.
But before we went, we're like, we should really like I had practiced with a few people in the city, but it was like let's like dive into Ashtanga and like get to know it
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah.
So we got a month pass and we started practicing with Jonathan. And the first day, like you know how Mysore works.
I do bit. You can like fill in people. It's
Yeah,
like something I think you do in the morning, and it's self guided, from my understanding.
it's self-guided. So the simple way of describing it is it's this like very authentic and kind of real way to learn the practice of yoga. You're not just learning like this is the name of the pose or like this is the pose that you're doing.
Yeah.
You kind of baked into it is like you're remembering the order, and you take this like unique sense of ownership over it. Like
Hmm.
as you start getting more and more poses, you have more to remember.
Yeah.
But as you start to practice it more and more, it obviously becomes easier to remember, and
Yeah.
it is very like gratifying and rewarding to like start to build your practice in that way.
Hmm.
And I've never really felt that in like normal lead classes that it's like, oh, this is my practice that I get to build.
Hmm.
So Jonathan taught in that style. And I had practiced, but never like in perfect order or like kind of organized it.
Yeah.
And Ashtanga is a bit of a like, it's a bit of a monster. Like there's some weird poses in the middle, and like remembering the order and the operations and like the way to do it properly is like pretty daunting.
Yeah.
So my partner and I, we split the sequence in half. So I memorized the first half of the sequence. She memorized the second half of the sequence, so that when we went and met Jonathan, we could just like cheat off of each other and
Okay.
like we'd get to know.
Yeah.
So we show up at the studio. We both like men's change room, women's change room. We split up, and she was quicker, so she managed to make it into the practice room before me.
Yeah.
And when she got there, I guess Jonathan like greeted her and said hi and was like, "Hey, you go practice over there."
Yeah.
So then she saw me coming from the change room and she like kind of waved me over.
Yeah.
And Jonathan came up to me and was like, "You practice over there." So obviously I like didn't want to say anything. So I just like went over and like I knew the first half of the practice. So I did like 45 minutes. But my partner, she had memorized the second half of the practice,
Yeah.
not the first half. So she kind of like flustered through.
Yeah.
And then Jonathan like came over and was like, okay, you like, he used to tell you back in that day, like there was a separate room for Shavasana.
Okay.
So you'd practice and then he'd be like, okay, when you're done, you go in that room.
Yeah.
So she was in there in like half an hour probably. Whereas I took like 45 minutes. And I remember my part, she was so pissed off at me at the time because she thought I had abandoned her.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it was just, yeah, Jonathan, that's the memory that I take from him. He knew what was going on with his students
Uh-huh.
more than I think any human that I've ever met before. And I
Mm.
think that's why he kind of has this like legacy in the Winnipeg scene.
Yeah.
Anyone who's like spent a significant amount of time with him would get to notice and know like he just knew what was going on in the yoga space, and he knew what all of his students were working on and what they were up to, and somehow he like knew it without even like asking about it.
Yeah.
So
And I feel you do that from teaching so long. I feel you kind of are developing that skill set yourself. Like all students kind of need something different.
yeah.
Um, like I think like some people that they have a very like asana focused practice, they kind of need like not that more quieting, more relaxing. But then it's also they also need to be pushed sometimes.
Hmm.
What have you learned about being of service to your students in your decade plus of teaching?
I mean, it's a really good way to get to know people.
Uh,
Like a lot of my friends I've met through the yoga world,
yeah,
and even then, like not even so much people that I'd like go out with on a Friday night, but
yeah,
like so many of the students that I've met over the years have just like become super close
mm-hmm.
friends. I've like been the first person to know that people are pregnant when they like email to pause their membership,
Yeah,
or like I've witnessed like literal relationships form like over the span of like months and years, and
yeah,
like um I think it's really cool to get to know people in a unique way. And I think a yoga teacher kind of becomes a bit of a confidant in a sense. But
yeah,
I think that's been my favorite part about being a teacher and being around for long enough,
yeah,
is I get to know all these like unique things about the people that I see.
yeah,
And like I find it like really, really fulfilling to get to know them better.
mm-hmm.
Like I know which students right now at the studio have like overstretched their hamstrings, and I know which students at the studio are like modifying their chaturangas because they've just like been practicing like crazy. Like you do, you really do get to know these people that we see like pretty regularly.
Yeah.
So
And like crucial in terms of kind of getting to know students is creating a community where you could do so, and that's like a big focus at Rogue Vinyasa. So let's talk about community. Why that's so important to you and your vision at Rogue.
mm-hmm. I make jokes about it on occasion. Like yoga should be a really good vehicle for building community.
Uh-huh.
It's not in some of the same ways that like was my first experience with yoga, like being sweaty in a room and coming out after class and not
Yeah.
wanting to talk to anyone makes it hard to be in community. But for an hour or 90 minutes or whatever length of time, sometimes without talking to people at all, you kind of go through this shared experience.
Yeah.
And like if it's a really hard class and you kind of all end up coming out of it at the other way, like in Shavasana is like, oh, I'm changed. It's
Yeah.
like you also know that there's other people in there that it's like they're feeling that same thing.
Yeah.
Um, we we wanted to instill that and kind of find that. I mean, we created a tagline: "We're all friends here,"
Yeah.
because we believe that like the people that come to yoga and practice it regularly have this shared interest already, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a nice way to get to know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and you try to plan like events to encourage this community.
Hmm.
Before you had the studio location, you guys were doing pop ups all throughout the city,
Yeah.
gathering people in just kind of unique places to try to like foster that community
Yeah.
before your actual physical location. So yeah, let's talk about um, that. Like um, just kind of trying things outside the box. For example, you guys have a really unique event coming up for New Year's Eve where you guys are going to be doing like a practice. I think you're saying at 11
Yeah.
to 12, and then like kind of like a non-alcoholic champagne after that. So it's like one of the ways you're looking to create community. What are some other, like, let's talk about that and just kind of unique ways you're trying to foster community beyond the room?
Yeah. Yeah, I think outside of the studio space, like our initial idea, like we created an Instagram account, we created like our little, I'm actually wearing it here, our Yoga Anywhere tagline.
Yeah.
Like we started as this opportunity of like, let's get yoga outside of a studio where like there's rules about your cell phone, or there's like segregated change rooms that you're going into, or there's this like you drive there, you booked for class, you check in, you do the class, you leave. Like you kind of have this like routine that
Yeah.
revolves around yoga,
Yeah.
which, not to poo-poo on routine, it's like a powerful part of like what makes this practice work.
Yeah.
But we wanted to like bring yoga outside of the normal places of it.
Yeah.
So we like, yeah, we did a whole bunch of pop-ups. And then yeah, I mean, people, you get to know the people that are around you, and you get to talk to people before and after class,
Yeah.
and it's kind of this like just change of normal, in a sense that like, oh, we all showed up to this thing and people get to know each other better through it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's trace things back to India. So you and your partner
Mm-hmm.
at the time went to India to do this yoga training. This was the beginning of your yoga teacher training. And so what did you learn at that training? And then how has that evolved as you completed other trainings? Like, yeah, let's trace your lineage from being a student
Mm-hmm.
who just kind of got hooked on yoga to taking a step into the yoga teacher world at first just because it was like a good deal you had to explore India, and then like how did
Yeah.
that evolve?
Yeah. Yeah, it was obviously, there was more to it than just being a good deal. Like I'd been practicing for a couple of years, and it kind of like been bit by the bug a little to like
Yeah.
want to learn more. Um, when I started that training, like day one, my intent was not to teach.
Mm-hmm.
But about 2 weeks in, like kind of that midway point, I had like a bit of a thought in my brain of like, hey, maybe when I go home, maybe I would be interested in trying this. And the first training I did was specifically for Ashtanga. So
Yeah.
we went to Mysore. We took an Ashtanga training. I've since now learned that you don't take like a 200-hour in Ashtanga. That's like a big like no in that culture.
Okay.
Ashtanga, the way that you learn it, and there's, I mean, yeah, there's a whole bunch of wrong in this. Is that like normally you'd practice with a teacher long enough until
Yeah.
they'd be like, you can teach now.
Yeah.
That's how like the authorization process used to work, maybe still works. It's a bit up in the air right now,
Okay.
but like back then, it was like it was a chance to learn and practice and like really get rooted and ingrained in that sequence.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I came home and I started teaching like once a week, every second week actually, because me and my partner, we like flip flopped. So we would teach like a $5 class, and it was just like start to get our voice, start to talk to humans, a chance to like meet and get to know people. And I did that for about a year until I had an opportunity. The studio that I was working at, they run like an international teacher training.
Yeah.
And I managed to get some grant money because I was working as like a front desk staff, and they were
Okay.
like, "We'll pay a little bit for you to go to this training." Um, and I was interested in it, but I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go." And it was during that training that I got to the halfway mark once again, and I was hit by this bug of like, maybe I want to do this more.
Yeah.
Um, and that was the training where I kind of decided, I was like, I'm gonna try to pursue this and see what happens. And I told myself I was gonna try for the next year to do full time.
Yeah.
And if in a year it went by and it wasn't something I was super into, I'd carry on and do what I had planned to. But I was like, I'm gonna pause what I have going on for a year and just
Mm-hmm.
and give this a shot.
Mm.
And that was, yeah, I mean, that was 10 years ago now.
So did you have hesitation in doing that, like kind of giving up your kind of secure livelihood at the time to just pursue this new interest, or were you able to go all in with fairly easy?
I mean, I was kind of able to go all in. I
Yeah.
mean, in a bit of a like like I'm my friends, my partner right now describe me as like the person who's always wearing like rose-colored glasses. Like
Yeah.
everything's bright, everything's gonna work out.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I mean, fortunately, it's just how I've like been able to hold an outlook on the world.
Uh-huh.
But it enabled me to like, I didn't have a lot of expenses. I had done a lot of traveling in the past, so I didn't have like these huge things looming,
Uh-huh.
and I was able to, yeah, definitely like go full in. I had also set myself up, like I was working part time at a yoga studio already.
Yeah.
And the mixture of working at the desk and starting to teach, um, I recognized as a way to maybe avoid like some of the burnout I had heard some of my favorite teachers talk about, of
Mm-hmm.
like just throwing yourself at teaching, and
Okay.
kind of split the effort of like be in the community, work on emails, work on scheduling, work on normal stuff,
Yeah.
and also teach on the side,
Yeah.
and not do too much of either, that it felt like one was overtaking or one was like just too much.
Yeah.
And I will admit openly that like, yeah, it worked out exactly as I had hoped it would.
Yeah, I think it's like a really interesting way to do that because like your work at like the front desk and in the management style um, of that, like splitting it also allowed you to kind of create a deeper relationship with the students who would draw people into your class, and you got to know people better that way too. So I
Yeah,
think that's kind of a really unique way to approach that.
yeah,
Um, and then fast forward, so you were doing that for 10 years at this yoga studio, teaching and working behind the front desk, some management, and then you and your best friend Jess decided like I'm done working for someone. Like I want to like venture out on my own.
yeah.
And like, were you able to transition so just as easily as like when you decided I'm gonna try 1 year of full time teaching yoga, or was it like were you able to go in with rose colored glasses again, or was there a bit more hesitation and fear?
No, there was. I mean, there was some hesitation and there was some fear. I think you're going to be chatting with Jess too. I would, I would. So I'm excited to hear her answer to this if you ask her the same question.
Yeah,
Um, I, I've, I've like in jest told people like Jess and I, the decisions we made that led to Rogue, like the initial spark of it,
yeah,
we we've looked at each other as like teachers of each other for a long time, and
yeah,
like she was one of my first yoga teachers. She taught me how to do a headstand in like the back hallway by the stairs
yeah,
of like the previous studio, like where all the staff boots and shoes were. Like
yeah,
I've known Jess for a very long time, and I think we both like looked up to each other, and we wanted to just be able to teach together.
yeah,
And through a whole series of happenings, we had kind of lost that ability to teach together. And we just, I mean, we connected on a bigger way like a couple years ago, and started talking about like what it might look like to create a way that we could continue to teach together long term.
yeah,
And it started as pop-ups. We kind of traded back and forth where like she would teach and I would DJ. So I
yeah,
had like kind of incorporated music into the mix, and we co-taught a couple of them together, and her partner DJ'd. So we kind of had this like trio. Um, but then, yeah, actually like starting a business and going through the phases, I would not say was like a super smooth process.
uh-huh,
Um, uh, I think lucky to have her, and we definitely like supported each other throughout the whole process.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it was a big endeavor. It was like a big look.
yeah,
Um, we found there was another studio that we looked at before the current space that we're at,
yeah,
that is thankfully still a yoga studio. Like it
yeah,
didn't like disappear from like the world of yoga, but it was like a turnkey studio that we could have like taken over. We had some minor renovations that we wanted to do, but that was like we started looking at like what our bank accounts look like and what our financials would look like, and I spent time building a business plan. And as we started to do more and more, we started to think like, okay, we could do this.
yeah,
And I mean, her and I, we had lots of conversations like late at night where we're like, are we doing this?
yeah,
And yeah, there was never a time where it was like, no, we're not going to do this. It was more just like, we're gonna do this. We need to figure out how we're gonna do this, but we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, we went through that first space, and we didn't end up getting approved for the like another group got in and got it ahead of us.
Yeah.
But then we pivoted and we're like, hey, what does a bank loan look like? What does hiring a lawyer look like? What does looking at leases look like?
Yeah.
What's the difference between a 5-year commercial lease and a 10-year commercial lease,
Yeah.
and like all the nitty gritty behind it. And um, yeah, I mean, it was a cool process, and I would hope that in the future we'll have the opportunity to like share more about it and like help other entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we went through it and we did it, and here we are, and we have a beautiful space that we're both like super stoked on and
Yeah.
super proud of.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like how did like what did you learn about fear in that process? And how did you overcome it? Or just what is your relationship with fear in general? How does that look like?
Like crippling or not at all. I either deal with it really well or
Uh-huh.
I deal with it really poorly.
Okay.
Um, I think the biggest part of fear, and this is maybe gonna sound like hokey or fake or whatever. One of my like biggest fears was that my my friend like Jess was gonna like she was gonna move on and be
Okay.
like, it's going to be easier for me to just do something else, and I was going to lose like not lose a friend, but like lose out on like the opportunity to like teach with her and like things. There was a couple times where it was just like, is this going to work, and we
Yeah.
didn't really know, and there's some big decisions we had to make, and it was like maybe it would be easier to just not do it. And I
Yeah.
think like one of my biggest fears was just like, if this doesn't work, like I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, there was a period of time like through the process, and especially building up to the process, where I realized that like where I was currently was not going to be where I was going to be in 5 years.
Mm.
And that was like a scary thought to kind of sit with
Yeah.
and fully realize. And then through that process, yeah, I mean, this opportunity evolved and was created, and now like I know very well where I'm going to be in 5 years.
Mm.
So
So through that experience, and even just through your experiencing, like deciding to just to go all in on just becoming a teacher, yoga teacher, trying that for a year,
mhm.
and just throughout the various experiences you've had up until now, just taking a chance on yourself, just trusting the process. What advice would you have to someone who's listening that kind of have a calling in their heart, whether that calling is to go back to school, get a different degree, or get a degree, or to travel around the world, or to move cities, or to take that yoga teacher training. I don't know, just to do something outside their comfort zone,
Mhm.
but they're stuck. They're stuck at the crossroads of should and must. And like the path of should is everything they've been taught by their parents, school, society. It's like the safe road. It's the path well traveled, the predictable path,
Yeah.
the known path,
Yeah.
versus the must. That's like the calling in your heart that compelled you. Oh, I should pursue my passion for yoga and go to India, do this yoga training, or
Yeah.
like I don't know. I don't feel like this is right anymore at this yoga studio where I've been investing myself for a decade. Like I'm no longer getting what I want out of this, and my pull is to create something on my own with my friend.
Yeah.
Um, that's the path of a must. It's like that intuitive knowing in one's heart that is calling them to that path less traveled, that unpredictable path, that unknown path. So yeah, what advice would you have to someone at that crossroads of should and must?
And must. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, it's gonna sound cliche to say, but like you're gonna regret the like things that you don't try.
yeah,
Like you can't take every opportunity. That's the problem. But if you're at this crossroad of should and must, and you haven't been in that crossroad for a while,
yeah.
you go for the should, or go for the thing that calls to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're doing that every week, then it's a different story. Like you gotta eventually like find something and stick to it long enough to
Yeah,
notice the benefit.
yeah,
But if you're always just like wishing you were doing something else, like I think that's it's going to haunt you later on.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are going to be the things that you think about later on in your life, and it's like, oh, I wish I would have done that, rather than like go for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So
what about for someone that doesn't even know what their must is, they don't have a purpose and they're just kind of floundering like in kind of this like the nowhere, like they just don't really know what is that
yeah,
calling, that passion. Um, what have you learned from your personal experience, and then also helping other students of yours find what that is for them? Yeah, what have you learned about finding that must, finding that purpose?
I mean, I think being open to opportunities is such a huge one. Like
Uh-huh.
being open to new experiences, and like having people around you that hopefully support that, like
Yeah.
be it like friends, family, whoever. But being able to like support that in yourself. I mean, other hobbies I have, obviously yoga, but I'm also a huge fan of rock climbing.
Yeah.
I love to DJ. I'm like a secret fan of like the after party scene where it's like people are literally just there to dance and just like kind of let loose.
Yeah.
All of those things are things I discovered because I didn't watch a video and be like, oh, I really like want to be this DJ, or
Yeah.
like go out and like watch a movie or a documentary and be like, oh, rock climbing looks like the right thing. It
Yeah.
was just like something that I went out and tried. And when I was younger, like in my 20s, I was the person in the friend group that had like a million hobbies,
Yeah.
and I would do all of the hobbies until I was like kind of good enough that I would say like I can do this thing.
Yeah.
But it was like every couple weeks I was like trying a new activity, trying a new thing, and for a while it was like I'm sure my partner at the time used to joke that it's like you're always doing something new. I've slowed down, thankfully, but I had to find the things that really called to me. So advice would be to just like try things,
Mm-hmm.
and I luckily don't suffer from a lot of like um, like second doubt about like being an odd duck or like being out of place in
Yeah.
a new location. I know that that is definitely something that like plagues some people,
Yeah.
but just like going out and trying new things and finding new experiences, I think, is the easiest way to try and figure out what things really call to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when
Mm-hmm.
you do find one, hopefully you can pursue it.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've become foundations to your self care, your personal self care. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like music, rock climbing, yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Those are something you mentioned. What are some other like fundamentals of your personal self care practice? Things that just keep you mentally well.
Um, I don't know. Can you give me an example? Like,
Like meditation, healthy eating,
mm,
your relationships,
okay,
like self care. I'd say there's like four dimensions. There's like physical self care.
yeah,
There is mental self care, so that's like reading, learning about things, continually educating yourself. Emotional self care, so like things like therapy,
mm-hmm.
journaling, and then spiritual self care, whether that be like studying ancient texts,
Mm-hmm.
connecting with the spirit, whatever that means to you, whether that be in nature, in church. Yeah, so I'd say those are like the four aspects of self care that I identify with.
Okay,
So physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual.
okay. I mean, a handful of those without identifying them as that, I do kind of connect to on a daily basis through my teaching and my time at the studio.
Yeah,
The physical part, obviously, like I find yoga very, very effective for self care.
yeah,
For me, as a teacher for a long time, I really love just like stepping into a room and letting someone else tell me what to do for an hour.
yeah,
And like I'm at a point, fortunately, where like I can kind of turn off my brain and just like breathe and move, and that I find super helpful.
yeah.
But then, yeah, through like stories and connection, I'm constantly either like reading or listening, or watching like different thinkers and people, from a huge walk of life,
Yeah.
to get inspiration to like be able to share.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I mean, shoot, I live so close to the studio right now. I used to really like taking walks and
Yeah.
like listen to some music, put on a podcast, go for a walk. Like
Yeah.
that used to like really fill me up. Now I think one of the main things I do, I mean, we're drinking coffee. I'm a big coffee fan as well. Um, every morning, like a ritual of like grind coffee beans, boil water, pour over coffee, just like small, simple things
Yeah.
that, yeah, I think that's always super important.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What are you currently learning?
what am I currently learning? I mean, this has been the answer for a little while, and it'll hopefully contain or still be the answer for a while. I'm
Yeah.
learning a lot, like handstands and hand balancing.
Okay.
Um, and I devour books and videos and self practice and all sorts of stuff around handstands.
Okay.
Um, I think I think they're incredible to look at and watch. I think they're really cool as a skill. Um, I think they also like they teach us a lot about like ourselves. Like it teaches me about being patient
Uh-huh.
because like it's been a long time since I feel like there's been huge measurable changes in my handstand practice.
Yeah.
But if I look back over old videos, it's like no, there's a huge difference.
Mm.
And like in December so far, like every day I've been posting like a video of like a handstand.
Okay.
And I'm just like setting up a tripod, doing a handstand, and just like if I fall out, I'm gonna end the video right away.
Yeah.
And if I would have done that 6 months ago, like I would have fallen a bunch of times already this month. And like so
Mm-hmm.
far, yeah, just like been able to do it no problem.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
but I'm
yeah.
trying to learn, and I'm trying to use that as an avenue to learn more about um, the way people learn, the way I learn, but also yeah, like a physical skill.
I think patience is such a key virtue, skill to learn
Yeah,
for everyone. It's something I'm working on myself too.
yeah,
Just patience in all things, not only with physical practice, but with just life in general, and just taking time, slowing things down, trusting the process.
yeah.
What are you currently unlearning?
I'm learning. Like, I'd love to say, like, I'm trying to unlearn a lot of like self doubt patterns and um, like deep rooted feelings of um, like not being good enough kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which again, hopefully that'll be something I continue to unlearn for a long period of time. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I'm ever gonna completely get rid of it. I think that imposter syndrome is like something we can use to our benefit as well of like wanting to like not get stuck and complacent where you are.
Uh-huh.
But it's definitely something that yeah, I think most yoga teachers that I've talked to
Uh-huh.
have like gone through periods of time of like, am I good enough or am I good at this? And now as a business owner, it's like there's a whole other ball game of it. It's like
Yeah.
my friends are paying me money to come and like be in this space and like
Mm.
all the different things. So yeah, I think I've been a doubtful person for a long time, um, but trying to unlearn some of that or
Mm.
trying to like not let it get to me quite as much.
Beautiful. So these conversations are called Welcome to the Winner's Circle. And to me, winning means embracing the process over the destination. So often, society has taught us, and this is something where I'm continuously unlearning,
Mm-hmm.
is less focus on the destination. So less focus on like this pose that looks like this handstand that looks like this, or like this job, this amount of money in the bank, this house, this relationship, this whatever. When I
Yeah,
get there, I'll be happy because like we've all been there. Like you've had goals, and we get there, and it's like, oh, this is great. And then it kind of just it only lasts for so long because the sweetness is the process, the journey.
yeah,
Really embracing that. So for me, winning is embracing the process with humility and with trust and a faith that this whole story is beyond myself.
mm-hmm.
Is trusting a divine um, energy guiding me, everything happening for me. And
Mm-hmm.
so just being patient, delighting in that process with humility, with grace, and with faith. So to me, that's what winning means to me.
Yeah.
What does winning mean to you?
I mean, to build on what you just said, there's a quote that I love.
Yeah.
It comes from the guy who wrote the Dune book series.
Okay.
But the quote is along the lines of, "You stand alone in the dunes, looking up at the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
unable to see another mountain behind it."
Uh-huh.
So this idea of like you're like looking at a goal, or like a lot of people, they look at a goal and they think, when I reach that goal, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And his statement is like, you can see the goal from beneath it, but when you get to that goal, there's another goal that's beyond it that you can't see right now. But it's just like, when does that end?
Yeah.
And it ends, I think, when you stop looking towards the end of it and start really enjoying like the process.
Yeah.
So like how you brought that up, like um, that's how I live my whole life. And I mean, yeah, I don't have a pension. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I'm old and retire.
Yeah.
But that'll be something that I'll figure out as I go along.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like definitely I like the idea of like enjoying the process.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I try to hold on to that as much as I can.
Mm-hmm. Trusting it,
Yeah,
trusting the process, and everything that's meant to be will be.
yeah. So
Um,
yeah, I mean, to like, what does being a winner mean? I think um, I wouldn't view a winner as someone who's like, made all their money and like still continuing to try to make more. It's like, I'd say someone who's winning is someone who's like happy where they are at the moment,
mm-hmm.
and like hopefully has direction, and you can still have goals. You can still have that mountain that you want to move
Yeah,
towards, but
absolutely.
it's like getting there isn't going to change anything about you or fix anything about the situation. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Um, so we've talked about all these like celebrations and highs as we examined your past, we examined your present, but there's also been challenges. What has been like a challenge that you've encountered on your path? Maybe like a big challenge that in the time um, felt like disastrous and you didn't know how you'd bounce back from it. That in hindsight was such a blessing for you. What did you learn from that? What have you learned about challenges on your journey?
Um, I mean, big one, like the lesson probably to like try to trust myself more.
Yeah.
And not taking the easy path in
Mm-hmm.
a sense.
Yeah.
Um, in my previous time at a yoga studio, I took. I mean, you mentioned it in the bio. I was like I worked in like kind of a management level position. I taught full time. I kind of did like all these roles around the studio. And as time evolved and continued to go on, one of the things that I brought up was that I wanted to have like a long term plan, and
Yeah.
like I wanted to kind of start thinking about like, what does my future look like.
Yeah.
And I was met with basically the response of um, like, we see that you want to teach more, which was not the only thing I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of do everything more and like make a career out of it.
Yeah.
And they're like, so we're going to give you more time to teach more.
Yeah.
And that was like the kind of the beginning of the end of like my previous employment, of like basically I went from having all these things that I was doing and like some semblance of direction and like what my path might be,
Yeah.
to all of a sudden being like, no, 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 we want you to like trust your own path and figure out your own way,
Yeah.
which at the time was like gut wrenching.
Yeah.
Like I went from like a salary position to like losing a bunch of hours, and like all of a sudden being like, wait a sec, I've like kind of relied on these other people to like help me out and like provide employment and career and direction. And in some ways, it's like it. I mean, it ended up being a blessing, obviously, with where I am now. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was probably one of the biggest things. Is just like all of a sudden I wasn't able to rely on someone else, and I kind of had to be forced to rely on myself.
Yeah.
And I don't think everyone ends up in that position. Like that's definitely, being a yoga teacher is a unique job. Like you have the potential to do quite a bit for yourself.
Yeah.
And I have friends who they work at a bunch of different spaces and also do their own things, and it's
Yeah.
like it fills their cup. um, I always wanted to kind of be like grounded in one space and get to know one community.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a huge like hit of like, what am I gonna do? And
Mm.
I mean, had memories of like, okay, I'm 35 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and I have kind of fully committed to this thing, and like, is it still worth it? Am I gonna continue to commit to it?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I had to trust myself, and thankfully I had a like my co-owner of the studio, like we kind of had to trust each other. We both ended up in a very similar situation all of a sudden, and
Yeah.
luckily we had each other for it. But yeah, I think the main thing is just trusting yourself
Mm.
and being forced to do it.
So for someone going through a challenge right now, whether that be like a mental health challenge, professional challenge, whatever challenge, what word of wisdom do you have for them?
I mean, trust yourself, and as that is like sometimes completely impossible, like I was really lucky to have like a good support system.
Yeah.
um, like lean on those supports, and it could be anything. Like some days it was just like I'd look at my cat and be like, God, I'm glad that you're around. But like the supports that you have, like really like allow yourself to lean on them, knowing that if they ever needed to lean on you, you'd reciprocate it.
Yeah.
But just be there, yeah, be there for the people around you, and try to trust in yourself.
Hmm.
So
I agree with that. So often, though, people going through challenges, they feel like they don't have any support, and maybe they don't, or they don't want to burden
yeah,
um, the people that they love and care about. What would you have to say about that?
I mean, it definitely comes from a place of privilege of like having support, and like I recognize that I was super lucky to have that.
Yeah.
On the topic of like not wanting to burden, I think that's one of those things that's like it's so in our own head,
Yeah.
and we've kind of like conditioned ourselves to like be quiet and closed in and like and not want to. I really wish that it was just more normalized, that we didn't have to feel that way,
Yeah.
and it was normalized of like if it was you and me and
Yeah.
you were going through a super tough time and it
Yeah.
was like becoming too much for me to be your only confidant,
Yeah.
I would rather be in a situation where I had to be like, Derek, I really like, we need to get someone else involved. Like I can't be the only one that you're bringing this up to.
Yeah.
Um, we don't. So I think what ends up happening is like the person who's worried about it like just internalizes everything.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think like as a society, like just communicating with each other and being truthful and honest it's super hard, but it's a really powerful thing
Yeah.
to do.
And from like my knowledge and my experience, there's always helpers, and you just
Yeah,
have to ask. Like there's helpers everywhere,
yeah,
um, and we don't have to do this alone. Like
no,
there's so many free resources,
yeah,
and just when you are truthful with someone and letting them know that you're going through a tough time, um, very seldom will that person not help,
yeah,
or direct you somewhere where you can. But
yeah,
keeping it inside um, is
no, it's
not the path.
yeah, yeah. I mean, communication, I think, is like one of the biggest pieces, that there's so much like there's so much internal communication of like before you talk to someone or before you bring something up, there's like your internal doubt and your internal worry. And I mean, maybe I'm fully alone in this, but I've like imagined conversations between me and other people and like imagined both sides of it,
Mm-hmm.
and like so much that's just like your own narrative like coming through,
Yeah.
and not the actual reality of like if you were to like bring this up with people, usually the like most people will be in support or will want to help.
Mm-hmm.
um, Not everyone is going to have that. Not everyone, I think, will be able to have that sense of freedom or sense of a support that they have. I know I didn't when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I was the kid who would like never tell his parents about anything for worry about what they'd say,
Yeah.
and like always like hid all sorts of stuff. And even with like early partners and girlfriends, there was like moments of time where it's just like we wouldn't talk about things.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognized that and was in a unique position in my life when I started seeing like my current fiance now. When her and I first, or like when her and I started dating, I remember having a conversation like maybe before our first date, like
Yeah.
with myself,
Yeah.
and being like, I'm just gonna talk to this person. I'm always gonna tell them the truth,
Yeah.
and I'm always just gonna like speak what's on my mind.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I remember there was a day where it was like I wanted to just like sit at home and like watch movies with my roommate, and
Yeah.
like her and I had plans, and I was like, what am I gonna do? Make up some excuse or like do something I don't want to do? I was
Yeah.
like, I just texted her and was like, me and Andre have really been looking forward to this. I'm so sorry, but like I gotta stay in.
Mm-hmm.
And that sense of honesty, I've just like I've now it in a relationship was like a trial run of like what does open and honest communication feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Now I try to just like have it at all times in my life, just like open, honest,
Yeah.
true communication, and I mean it works out super well.
Yeah. And it's just like yoga practice, the asanas. It's like the more reps we put in at something, the easier it gets.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't feel like you're able to be honest with the people in your life, or maybe you don't have people in your life like you could talk to the sun, talk to a tree, talk to nature, talk to a pet,
Yeah,
call like a helpline. There's all these free helplines that people are there just to listen.
yeah,
Um, but there's always someone to listen.
yeah,
And you just have to trust that and just put in the reps of just allowing your heart to speak its truth,
yeah,
um, through your words and through your actions. That's what I feel.
yeah.
So you've so much shared in this conversation. We're getting towards the end of this conversation. But through all the highs and lows that has been your hero's journey, what do you feel called has been the greatest life lesson you've learned on your path that you feel called in this moment, right now, to share with anyone tuning in? Um,
Um, to be open to surprises, like things you didn't expect. Like all like throughout my whole life, every like big experience that I've gone into, and like I talked about this in yoga right at the beginning, but it's so true just beyond that practice is like um every like good and memorable experience um oftentimes is like not one that I set out to find. And it's
uh,
like I was just open to experiencing it and finding it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Trusting the process.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Getting the
yeah.
hands off the steering wheel and just letting a power beyond yourself
Yeah, I mean a
to
little bit.
guide you.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like and yeah, being open enough to like discovering those things.
yeah,
So yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, you mentioned like I forget how it came up, but like first time I ever went and traveled, we traveled with no plan. Like
Yeah,
we didn't even have plane tickets. We landed in Indonesia
yeah,
and like we didn't have a hotel room booked. They wouldn't let us out of the airport before we booked a hotel. They're like, "What are you doing?" We're like, "Well, we're gonna figure it out." They're like,
yeah,
"We're not signing your visa until you tell us where you're staying." We're like, "Oh, okay."
yeah, yeah.
But like that, like if I could recommend everyone, like first travel, one, like get out of your home base and like
Mm-hmm.
travel for some period of time,
Yeah.
and like travel without like a firm plan in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
just go experience a local culture, experience something that like you're totally not expecting, and just like go out, like walk outside for the day and see where it takes you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I have a memory of like being in the middle of a lake in Nepal with a on a boat with a dog that was like not my dog, obviously,
Yeah.
that just like followed me onto the boat, and we just like we hung out for the whole day, me and this
Yeah.
dog. I mean, that's just people are gonna be like, you abducted a dog. It's different over in Nepal, but
Mm.
yeah, like one of those memories that like I can like close my eyes and think of that day fondly.
Yeah.
Um, and like it never would have happened if I wouldn't have just like let the day occur.
I love that. And like that's not accessible to everyone. Um, like to take off work or financially to go
Yeah.
travel to Nepal, but you literally could do that in your own city.
Yeah.
Just put down your phone, go to a new neighborhood,
Yeah.
have no plans, and
Yeah.
just see where the day takes you, or just take a little commute to a small
Yeah.
town nearby and just get in the reps of
Yeah.
yeah, just not needing to plan and just allowing a day to unfold
Yeah.
as it will.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you could go anywhere, do anything. I mean, the easiest way would be to like look at what you do on a normal day to day and just like one day don't do that. Like
Yeah,
one day do something different. And
yeah,
if you're not quite sure, like, "Ah, I can't identify what it is or what I do different, then like maybe you don't need it right away.
uh,
But if it's like, no, Saturdays are for this, it's like, okay, maybe Saturday is the one you change. It's
mm,
like we get so set in like these are the things we do, this is what we get into, and
yeah.
like just have to break that every now and then.
And it's really a practice of yoga anywhere, because yoga is so much more than like the physical practice, the asanas. And so
Yeah,
it's like applying what you learned on the mat into your everyday experience.
yeah,
Just going with the flow. When you step into the yoga room, you don't know what the teacher's going to teach, but you just surrender yourself
yeah,
to what is,
yeah.
connect with the breath, connect with the energy around you, and just allow it to be,
Hmm.
allow it to blossom.
Yeah,
My last question: we examine your past, your present. Let's
yeah.
go into the future. Let's go into the future alongside a senior Matt, like an 85-year-old Matt. Like, who is that man? Where are you? Who are you surrounded by? What is the legacy you've left in your 85 years? And most importantly, like, what are the predominant feelings in your being?
Um, I've joked in the past, and like some of my friends would recognize this joke. I want to be like the 85, 90 year old, like leathery, wearing a speedo in the middle of the pool, doesn't give an F about what anyone thinks about them. Kind
Yeah.
of kind of old man. Um, I'd love to be in a place where I can just like enjoy each day. Um, like still be able to move is my goal. I mean, that's like why I practice yoga. Like
Yeah.
I said, I'm learning handstands, but like the main thing is that just like I want to move as good as I can for as long as I can.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be great to be down on a beach someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like long term goal. Like go live by the ocean.
Amazing. And
Um,
what were like the predominant feelings in your being? Like, how does that man feel inside?
and hopefully just like calm and quiet, and yeah, that would be the time to just like read tons of books and just be like friendly to all those around you.
Mm,
um yeah, I'd love to like still be cooking like every day and just like hopefully just like be able to live like a pretty simple elderly life.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
have like a small garden, bunch of cats. That'd be great.
Amazing. Well, let's just like I just invite you to close your eyes, connect with your breath, and I just want you to envision this like 85-year-old Matt, leathery skin in a speedo, sitting in the beach in the warm sun, cats all around him, there's a garden around him, loved ones around him. Just so free in the body, free in the spirit, and just sit with that man. Sit with him beside the eternal flame in your heart. Breathe with him, feel his presence, envision him in your being. And then bring us back into the now, current day Matt. And that old man, he whispers something into your ear as you come back into your body. What does he say to you?
To keep doing what I'm doing right now. At least for the time being, I feel like I'm in the right place, surrounded by the right people, and it'll change, and I'll have to evolve. But at least right now, I'm like, yeah, I'm grateful and thankful that yeah, I think I've landed where I need to be.
Mm,
So
amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time.
yeah, thank
For
you.
people wanting to connect with you, they could find you on Instagram at Coppens31.
Yep.
And they can find more about Rogue Vinyasa at roguevinyasa.com, and on Instagram it's at Rogue Vinyasa.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have some cool events coming up. The New Year's Eve class,
Yeah.
that's something I'm excited to take part
Yeah.
in. Any last closing words for people listening?
Yeah, New Year's Eve, we're doing a class from 11 p.m. till midnight. So we're gonna bring in the new year together. Yeah, I mean, we're a brand new yoga studio. We kind of like everything is new and exciting. This is one of those things that we've been like dreaming of for a while, and like we want to make it a regular thing. Obviously, New Year's comes once a year, but
Yeah.
yeah. And in the meantime, like yeah, try something new. If you haven't tried, like go and take a yoga class, and like it'll change your life.
And there's like a great promotion at Rogue Vinyasa right now. It's $60. You get an introductory month. Do as many classes as you want. Try all the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you haven't practiced yoga before, see what myself and Matt are so passionate about, and that it's something that has transformed both our lives.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Matt.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. Yeah.